Good evening, parents of the West Shore School District, and welcome to the Boiling Point podcast. This is Mariana, and welcome to our weekend edition. So, today I have a message to the superintendent of the West Shore School District that I would like to share not only with him but with you. Now, for a while now, Todd Stoltz, the superintendent of the West Shore School District, has been stating that there are no incidents of bullying or violence at the West Shore School District, which is laughable, especially when we think back how the school year started with threats, okay, of students wanting to hurt other students, put it that way, okay, and bullying in the schools that has been uncontrolled for a while now. He has been heard saying that there is no bullying or violence in the school, that there's nothing to rein in. And according to him, the only parent that is stating this is Mrs. Reed, which is myself, and that we have no proof that this is happening and it's just chatter. Well, I am here to tell Mr. Stoltz, number one, to stop being an enabler. And number two, I would suggest that he gets the Webster Dictionary 1828 version and find the definition of truth. Learn the definition, memorize the definition, and apply it to his tongue. Because anytime that he states that there is no violence, he knows that he is speaking a falsehood. Yep, he's speaking a falsehood. Because, parents, if you want to convince yourself, all you have to do is one or two things. Start coming to the meetings at the West Shore School District, or sit down and pull up these meetings online, and you will find countless parents practically begging for assistance from the board because their child is either being bullied, beat up. There's been children that have been beat up in front of administration staff, and the administration have turned a naked eye. The parents are not informed when these things happen. Okay, there has been potential lawsuits. We have lost a bunch. I mean, a bunch of kids to cyber school, and you see them all crying and hollering and whooping and hollering. And even some of our candidates like Terry Mickle about how much money we're losing to cyber schools. But it's because of this man that you see right here, because of his ineffectiveness and because he is an enabler to those in staff to allow this bullying and violence to continue in the schools, okay, and allow the teachers also to bully the children. This week, we had an incident in Fairview. Now, sometimes I go MIA for a while because there's so much parents going on in the West Shore School District that sometimes you just need the mental break of this. And I was going to go MIA this weekend, so I thought, until I started getting copies of these clips that I'm going to share with you from some of the parents here and parental groups in the West Shore that wanted to make me aware of what was happening in Fairview. Now, in Fairview, we have the principal, Mr. Granger, who is very good friends with Todd Stoltz. And Todd Stoltz will break his arm, do flying leaps in the air to protect this man. Okay? And he is also ineffective as a principal. When he was the principal in Allen, the violence was, astronomical. The bullying that was going in there was ridiculous. The parents would go to him and he would do nothing. But then again, look who his buddy is, an ineffective superintendent and an ineffective principal. What can we say? Now you add on Mrs. Geiswhite, who this year received her title of doctor and has been reported by children of scolding children and being rude to children when they mistakenly call her Mrs. Geiswhite versus Dr. Geiswhite. So, boy, is that not a chip on the shoulder. But anyway, we had an incident in Fairview in which a child was accused falsely of bullying other children and a racist, and Mrs. Geiswhite was about to issue an in-school suspension on this child without investigating the facts. Well, you would think that she's a doctor, right? That she would know better. But no, Mrs. Geiswhite, of course, being led by emotion and ego, did not look further into it and research to get the facts. So I'm going to share the clips that were sent to me, and you judge for yourself. Okay. So this is the parent of the child that was accused speaking, okay? My son was accused of being racist, and they were going to give him an in school suspension. I went straight into the office and sat Mrs. Geiswhite down in the counselor's office and I blasted them. I said, absolutely not. My son, first off, will never be a racist. And second, come to find out, it was the girls who started it. I made them reread the statements, then proceeded to state the girls these days sure do like to play the victim, don't they? Maybe they are the ones who should be getting an in school suspension. They bumped it down to a detention. And my question will be a detention for what? Okay. After finding out it was clearly the girls who started the fight in the first place, never reprimanded any of them. Hmm. I will ask myself, parents, if these children, if these girls were what they called marginalized and they didn't want to touch them. Are we talking DEI still active in the West Shore School District after there's an executive order against it? Maybe. And if you guys need a link to report this to Doge, we do have that link, people. Let's continue. Couple days go by, and this same girl is now cyberbullying my son on Snapchat. We saved all the texts. Into the next day, his homeroom teacher, who was well aware of the entire situation, proceeds to place my son into a science group with guess who? These same three girls. What in the actual bleep? So while he is at science class, while he's in science class, he's talking to his partner. I'm sorry. While he is in science class, he's talking to his partner, one of the three girls, with the other two paired right next to them in lab. Proceeds to tell her, why don't you stop using a whole bunch of colors and color some black? I guess they were coloring a project and the girls were using, all these colors. And he said, why don't we just color one of these black? One of the girls is African American and turns around and tells my son, what? You call me black? I'm going to tell the teacher you said something racist to me. Do you guys see this? Are you guys following this? I mean, or am I the only one finding this to be um am I the only one finding this to be disturbing here? So, my son is definitely afraid to say anything to anyone because all the teachers sided with those girls. And Mrs. Geis White told me if she ever has anyone tell her my son said something racist, it will be an immediate in school suspension. This is the most absurd, ridiculous thing I have ever had to deal with at a school, and the way the school handled it was so inappropriate. Not to mention this particular girl who my son apparently called a racist name and is threatening him is part of the student council. Also, my son begged me not to talk to any of the teachers about this because my son is so scared that he is going to be in trouble or the girls will be worse at him at school if I do. So isn't this guy's creating fear? I mean, he's fearful of the adults, repercussion from the adults. Mrs. Guy's White is absolutely absurd. She is threatening to suspend the child if that's not a chip on the shoulder. She knows that the child is innocent, but she's still being a bully. And the son is now begging the mother because he's scared. This should not be happening. Fairview, this should not be happening. Okay? So some parents, of course, they chime in. One parent says, "My son was also accused of saying racial slurs to some girls, and her son is biracial. And they gave him a 2-day OSS, I guess that's out of school suspension." Let's go to the next slide. Another parent. Seems like now when they say they, she means the administrative staff. Okay, and this is not the first parent saying what I'm going to read right now. Because we had a parent pull her child from school that I spoke to you about, that her child was beaten up at the bathroom. Granger knew about it. He was the principal. Stoltz knew about it. And to date, they've done not a thing. And the parent put the child in cyber school. But this parent that's speaking right here is very wise. Okay. She says, "Seems like they like to bully our children themselves, the adults. These adults are supposed to be there to help. Bring them into the office with no contact to the parents, beat them down to feel like they are the issue, all without even bothering to confront the a-hole kids who are the real problem." Now, I'm reading this verbatim, guys, okay? "They fail to look at both sides and they fail to make our children feel safe. Our kids deserve better than this." And she's absolutely right. Our kids deserve better than this. But the reason we're stuck with this is because we're stuck with the administrator that we have. I posted a complaint on the Fairview Intermediate School page months ago about another subject, and Mr. Granger denied it. Really? Because my complaint might taint their perfect name being brand new. This school needs restructure with new staff immediately. Boy, do I agree with her. Let's continue. Here's another parent. "Something needs to be done. We as parents are the only advocate for our children. And now our children are afraid to allow us to do so because of the adults there. I've had enough of this BS." Let's get back to the slide. This is another parent. "The district really needs to think the age regrouping experiment. Fairview needs to reevaluate who they have running the school." I think that not only do they need to we need to reevaluate who's running the school, because Granger is a hot mess, but we need to reevaluate who's running the district, because the one who's running the district is the enabler of the one running the school. Don't forget that, people. My son felt my son felt so unsafe at the school that we moved to cyber with 2 months left. This used to be a district people moved to so their kids could attend. Now people are pulling their kids out. 11 kids that I personally know have left Fairview just this year. 11 people, do you hear this? 11 kids that this person personally knows left Fairview just this year. That's insane and really needs to be considered. They are brushing things under the rug so they don't get a bad reputation. Too freaking late. I have no problem saying this. Dr. Granger and Guys White need to go. And I agree. They need to go. She has a chip on his shoulder and he doesn't know what he's doing as the principal. And then we're paying their salaries for what? To terrorize our kids? After I pulled my son and switched to the cyber school, I emailed the principal. Just say, "Hey, this is why we left," kind of a thing. My son went to clean out his locker. The principal was standing in the office and didn't even look at my child. He is an awful example of a leader. He is not a real man. He tries to use his size to intimidate women. And I can say that because I experienced all of it. When he didn't like what I had to say, He just said, "Leave my office." That was after he blocked the superintendent from returning my phone call. They need to go. Also, can we find out why he's been a principal of like 5 different schools? Can we find out why he's been a principal of 5 different schools? Why did he keep leaving? Or is he being forced to leave because he needs to go? So, Todd Stoltz, you can sit there in your chair and say that the only parent complaining about violence and bullying in the West Shore School District is Mrs. Reed. But let me correct you. The only parent that has had the backbone to call you out on your falsehood, on your ineffectiveness, is Mrs. Reed, and she will continue to do so because I pay your salary and the parents of the West Shore School District does also. And we deserve better than you. You are ineffective. We deserve better than Granger, your buddy who's as ineffective as you are. And we deserve better than Mrs. Geiswhite with the chip on her shoulder that can't even research anything to get the facts before she attacks our kids and she threatens our kids. Now the kids are walking around fearful of the adults that they have in place. Do your job. And I will repeat it. I will continue to call you out. I will continue to call the abuse out. I will continue to call the abuse of these people, Granger, Geisway, and whatever teacher is in the West Shore School District that is not doing their job and that you are enabling. It is time that the parents of the West Shore School District use their voice. Call this out. We want to clean out the West Shore School District. It begins by cleaning out Todd Stoltz. So with that, I will remind you that we have school board elections coming up. And Mrs. Geiswhite's husband, Brian Geiswhite, is another one that needs to leave the West Shore School District. Because of him, Cumberland County is facing a 10-year tax hike that is breaking the backs of all our citizens. And he's been known to say, I guess he and his wife have the same views on parental rights, which they believe parents don't have a right. He's been known to say that the parents cannot have the last word. Okay. Is this the type of individuals that we need in our district? I will say no, absolutely not. Parents, do your job and vote them out. Parents, use your voice. Use your voice, use your pens, and get this enabler out of that seat. Because once we get him out of the seat, we can get his cronies here out of their seats also and put people in the West Shore School District that care for our kids, care for their education, and care for their safety, and will respect your voice as a parent. Because if your child is being bullied in school, beat up in school, threatened in school, or intimidated in school, they need to pick up those phones and let you know about it. And they're not doing that either. But they sit there and they deny, deny, deny. And this man in the middle, speaking falsehoods, and saying that it's not happening when it obviously is happening. And again, guys, I will encourage you. Say no to Geiswhite when it comes to the school election, the school board primaries. We do not need this type of candidate in our school that is in the wrong side of everything. And that lady, Mrs. Geiswhite, remember, she was part, or she used to be the head librarian and the head of the LGBT clubs in the West Shore School District. And due to this couple, okay, all this pornography was being brought into the West Shore School District, and they were also denying it because at that point he was the president. I mean, don't we have a mess here in the West Shore School District? He was the president. And again, he is on the wrong side of everything. I will encourage you to say no to Brian Geiswhite. I will encourage you to say no to Kelly Geiswhite. And like I stated before, it is time to clean up the West Shore School District. This bullying of parents, this bullying of students, that needs to stop. This denial that anything is happening in the West Shore School District, that needs to stop. Tosto's enabling of the behavior of this administrative staff needs to stop. Fairview is a mess. Granger is a mess. We need to find out why he keeps, being removed to other schools, because we know that he's ineffective, and we need to protect our children. To these parents, okay, that are speaking up, to this mother who went through that, let me do what Todd Stoltz and Mrs. Geiswhite will not do, and that is apologize for their ineffectiveness. Apologize for the abuse that your child went through in the hands of the West Shore School District. Thank you for speaking up, but I will also advise you to file a complaint, an educator's complaint. If you don't know how to do it, contact me. I will get you in touch with the correct people to file an educator's complaint against these people. And again, I would encourage the parents, and I would encourage the school board to really analyze, okay, and evaluate the performance of these people, especially of Tastos here, who's enabling all this bad behavior, all this bad action from his staff, because again, he too is a problem. He's the master of the problems. Evaluate and please see things for what they are. And our kids here, okay, we, the families of the West Shore School District, deserve a better school superintendent. We deserve a better administrator, an administrator that's going to care not only for education, but also for the safety, the physical safety, the mental safety, the spiritual safety of our children. Okay, yeah, these situations, as you see, these are the situations that cause mental health issues. Okay, that can break the spirit of a child. You will find the child going to counseling because of people like this, So I will, reach out to the board members and ask them to please reevaluate the situation, evaluate this administrator, because something has to be done to rein in his ineffectiveness. So parents, again, you decide for yourself what happened this week to this child, and what has happened to these children is no longer acceptable. It is time for you to speak out, and it is time that we vote the correct people into these school boards, and also require from them and request from them that they remove this administrator and this principal, because Granger is totally ineffective, and get people who really care for our children. So this is Mariana from the Boiling Point, signing out. But before I do, I will ask you to keep the children of the West Shore School District in your prayers, because they are victims of these adults. Yes, I said the word victims, and victims of this enabler that's allowing the adults to treat them this way. And I will also remind the parents that Saturday, March 22nd at 10 a.m., we have our prayer walk again. We will be at Cedar Cliff High School, behind the parking lot, behind the aquarium, formerly the planetarium, praying, because it's time to bring down the strongholds that's holding the West Shore School District captive, like the Word of God says in Matthew 18:18. Verily I say unto you, whatsoever ye bind on earth shall be bound in heaven, and whatsoever ye shall loose on earth shall be loose in heaven. We have authority in the name of Jesus. This district is in need of a lot of prayer. Our children is in need of a lot of prayer. Our conservative school board members is in need of a lot of prayer, and we need to fight fire with fire. We also understand that this is a spiritual warfare, so we do invite you to come out and join us in our prayer walk. So this is Mariana from the Boiling Point. Till next time, God bless.